We can't hear you, Christine. We can't hear you.
You're good.
There we go.
Now?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. We had to unmute ourselves.
Yes.
Okay. Redo. So we're going to talk about sleep posture and pillows tonight. And for those of you that are new to us and Zoom land or even here in the office, I'm Dr. Kristen. This is Monarch Family Chiropractic. Every Tuesday night, 5:45 to 6:15, we are doing educational workshops to help you have more information to empower you in your health and your goals. And tonight's more about is going to be very interactive. I'm going to move around, so we're not PowerPointing. You're going to see us demonstrate what it's like to lay on pillows, what it's like to lay when you're in a sleep posture on your side versus on your back. Things that can support you, because a third of your life is when you're sleeping, hopefully, and laying down and resting and recovering. And that's when your body's doing a lot of its healing. It has to have that recover and rejuvenation time. And it has to have no gravity, and it needs to have some time for multiple reasons. Your spine and your discs, which are those cushions between each vertebra, each spinal vertebra, are the shock system, if you will, the shock absorption of our body. So when we have that good space and those discs have good hydration to them, then our bodies are more equipped to be upright the 2/3 of our life, allowing gravity to do its job and still have that shock absorption. The big importance to that is then the vertebrae don't touch each other and create arthritis and that poor motion and mobility in the joint. It also keeps really good space for the nerves, right? So the spinal nerves and the spinal cord that are just protected and housed inside the spine have to exit out those openings on the side. If there is not a disc, there is no space for those openings to stay big for the nerve to exit and not have compression upon them or some type of rubbing on the spinal cord or the nerve itself as it leaves the spine and goes out to our body parts for them to function. So it's really important that our sleep posture supports good healing time and good rejuvenation of that plumpness and the hydration in the discs. So to keep the water in there and to keep them nice and mobile for the rest of the parts around them. So when we talk about these three things, we're going to talk about mattress, we're going to talk about pillows, we're going to talk about sleep posture. And first off, starting with mattress, I think it's really important that same with pillows. I don't think there's any one right thing and one right type. We all have the same parts and pieces. We talk about this when you're in your first couple visits and you're getting adjusted and we're going through your exam. We could be the same age. We have done different things in our bodies in our lifetime than the person next to us, than the person next to them. So it's really about how do we support your body where it's at and what it's gone through to this stage in life. So with mattresses, it's really important that it just be supportive, and firmer is certainly better than soft. And that's a way of supporting movement and stability. So we want to have cushion. We want it to not feel like a rock, but it's really got to support our pressure points too, and not feel like we sink into and don't have support. It's kind of like sitting in a nice upright chair with lumbar support, or laying back in a recliner or a couch that's just made of almost like goose down, right? There's just no support to that. So it may feel comfortable at first, but it's not supportive to be there for 2 hours, let alone hopefully 6 to 8 hours of your night, right? So most people, when they also don't know how they sleep, or they say, well, I move around a lot, that's just usually indicative of the body's not in a state of ease. So you're moving around constantly trying to get comfortable. So I think that what's really key with mattress is that it has some firmness to it, that it has, sometimes the best of both is having a firmer mattress with a pillow topper or something on top of it that gives you that best of both. You have support underneath, but you have a softer, cushiony component on those pressure points. And that it doesn't, you're not necessarily sinking into it like you would a couch or recliner. You want to have, there needs to be some resistance. So there's Tempur-Pedic. There's obviously all kinds of memory foam. There are things now with the silicone type. It's almost like they're trying to create a coil system where there's no coils. It is just an open, almost like a waffle look. So that's a lot more breathable. Memory foam pillows and mattresses used to be extremely hot. They still can be. They're still trying to figure out ways to make them more breathable so that you can be on the firmness, but not a mazillion degrees, because that's not a comfortable sleep. Just to be hot, your sleep temperature should be a couple degrees cooler than you like to keep your house during the day. That is a very well tested fact of, and we can pull research up. We didn't do PowerPoints to have that stuff on the slide today because we wanted to show you more practical things, but there is a lot of research that we can certainly give you and show you that people that go through sleep studies sleep much more comfortably and well into a deeper REM sleep and don't toss and turn and wake as much when they're sleeping in a cooler environment. So, and so you don't want a mattress that heats you up either. Pillow that is the same. If you're sweating and your head is hot, you're not going to stay comfortable and you're not going to stay in one spot or in a comfortable place. So with mattresses, like I said, there are things that what tends to be the go-to now, especially if you're sleeping with you have a co-partner and you don't sleep the same, is there are great things to those sleep number beds where you can dial your side different than the other. I'm not here to go through all of those things and what number is best. Again, it's what fits your body and what you've done with your body. So the support components of it is what we are going to go through, which is that when you are back sleeping, you've got to support the low back, which having your legs flat and straight is not supportive. We're supposed to have that low back lumbar curve, right? That lordosis. So just like with our neck, our low back needs that support too. When we put a pillow or something small under our knees and our knees are slightly bent, that is supporting the good curve in our spine and not almost making us feel like we're kind of hyper extending the low back. So when you're back sleeping, we'll demonstrate this in a minute when we turn around to the tables, but we'll talk through back sleeping, side sleeping. You just need less pressure at your pressure points. So your shoulder and your hip, kind of your knee, but mostly your shoulder and your hip. So, and laying on your side, which we'll demonstrate in a few minutes, it really matters what kind of pillow you sleep on. And you're going to need the most support when you're on your side because there's more space between your ears and your shoulders than their ears, but is between your shoulders and your neck, or your back and your neck here. So when we get into looking at postures on the mattress, that's going to change based on what you sleep on, but also how you sleep. So in a mattress that is firmer, you may feel, or more firm, that a back sleeping posture for more people is comfortable. Side sleeping, you need to have usually some of that cushion for those pressure points. We aren't designed to be on one side all night. So you should move. It's not like you're supposed to stay still all night. Your body's rotating you from pressure point to maybe other pressure points to lay on your other side. It's just if you move too often that the pillow or the mattress or too soft and you're sinking into it, you don't feel support, or it's so firm, those pressure points hurt after a couple hours. So I think you have to dial into those things individually. If you're a person who doesn't stop moving and you don't get comfortable sleep, most of our patients, once they start getting adjusted and their body is in more ease and they start moving better, their body can relax. And then they really dial in where their sleep posture is better versus what isn't. But when no position is comfortable, sometimes it isn't just the mattress or the pillow. It's a combination of your body isn't relaxed and can't get relaxed. So many times I don't have people change a pillow or a mattress at the get-go until we've been adjusting a little bit, because then they really dial in with what they need for their body once it's in better function, motion, and more ease. So going into pillows, before we go into the postures of all this, pillows, same thing. I don't really believe that there's a one size fits all, nor is there only one right pillow. There are many out there, and it's just that it fits and supports you with the way you sleep. We are going to always discourage stomach sleeping because that's not supportive of your neck or your low back curve. And it's really not supportive of breathing either. So when I talk about when people, if you're a stomach sleeper, you're probably going to say, well, yeah, I sleep on the flattest thing I can find. Maybe it is just a goose down or something super thin if it's a fiber filled. That's because you're really on your face or your forehead or your side of your face. But when you're laying on your stomach, if you truly stomach sleep, you're going to have to turn your head, obviously, right, left or right in order to breathe. Mm-hmm. So people have a lot, you're moving around a lot because nobody sleeps like this on their face, right? So you'll be on a flatter pillow. And even if you're a stomach to back sleeper or rotating sleeper, a lower pillow is going to be better. Even if you're a big frame, you're going to sleep on something that's a little bit lower than if you were side sleeping. Side sleeping, we again have to take up the most space to meet us from ear down to shoulder. So the pillow is usually the thicker if you're a side sleeper. There's more to support there because we want you sleeping neutral, which is just like as if you're looking at me this way, but I'm on my side. So I don't want this. And I certainly don't want you propped up this way on 3 or 4 pillows or something that tips your head in, because then you're either overstretching these and over-engaging these, or you're over-engaging these and you're overstretching these, if that makes sense. So people that move around a lot, no pillow feels comfortable because you really don't use the same size pillow if you sleep on your stomach versus your side versus your back, for the most part. What we love about the pillow we use, which is this Pillowise company that Doc and I have fallen in love with for the last, I'd say, well, going on 3 years now, 3.5. We both started using this pillow when we were pregnant, or I was pregnant. I don't even know if she was pregnant yet. I was most way through my pregnancy, so she probably wasn't even pregnant yet. And we were looking for something that was supportive, that held up, that wasn't hot because it is made more of foam, that lasts longer than a fiber-filled pillow, and that had a good warranty and a good, make and product and manufacture behind it. And that had multiple sizes so that we could help as many people with different size, shapes, and frames and sleep postures as possible. So the Pillowise company is one that her and I tested out for about a year before we brought it into our practices and started using it with our patients. Got our families on the pillows, started measuring everybody and just seeing if more people liked it than not. Because I had other pillows I used, but I used to carry like 4 different brands because everybody fit differently in just different stuff. This is so nice to not have any other brand in the office. And it's, again, maybe not the best for everybody, but I think I'd say we're probably at 90% success rate with people who have purchased pillows over the last 3 years that, or 2.5 years now, that really like what we've found for them that fit. So they have 7, maybe now 8 sizes. The Pillowise company does travel pillows. So it's the same thickness, but it's just shorter. And it folds up kind of in a sense in half and comes in a carry case. So people that travel a lot, this has been an awesome thing for them to be actually able to travel with a pillow that they don't have to worry about, oh, what kind of hotel am I in tonight? Or where am I staying? Or what am my body going to feel like by the time I get back home to my pillow? We measure, so let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, no, there's the XL. Yeah, there's 7 different sizes. And they've also developed a junior size, 3 sizes for kids and very small adults as they're going through still growth phases, and they're much smaller, narrower, and less developed yet in musculature. So there is a way to measure and do the kid sizes for kids to have that good support for their head and neck. So let's go through what we do for the measurement component there, and then we'll probably flip the camera around so you can see us demonstrating on the table with someone laying there, what's the best fit. So I'm going to move the sideline. So in talking about pillows, what we do with how Pillowise works and how we've gotten to dial in and I think be so successful with this is because they have us measure the 3 most different components or measurements of different frame size people, which is your neck circumference. So the inches or centimeters around the neck, the height of our neck. So from the back of our, I won't get into the anatomy terms, but the back of like your skull or behind your ear down to the top of your shoulder, and then across how wide we are. All of our shoulder widths are different. So some of us have short necks, long necks, wide shoulders, narrow shoulders. So we're going to measure across the shoulders from the back of the ear to the top of the shoulder and then around the neck. So we take those 3 numbers and we plug it into their app, their software. And then we're also wanting to know if you have what your sleep posture is. So the most common place you sleep, which is at back, stomach, or side. And then are you on a firm mattress? Are you on what you'd consider a medium firmness, or are you on a soft mattress? And all that matters, because if someone's on a soft mattress, then I'm not going to pretend they're on a firm mattress with a lot of resistance. If you're on a soft mattress, then you're on a soft mattress, and we need to see if it fits you for the right pillow for what you're using. Now, could that change if you go and buy something new? Sure, but it's not trying to put you into something that isn't what you already own or have. So I'm going to have Maggie come up and we're going to demonstrate just where you're measuring. Because what I also love about this company is you can put the PillowWise, it's PillowWise-USA, I believe, their app on your phone. It's free. You just download it. Their logo, which I don't know how well you can see me if I go this way. That's the name of it. Can you see that in the screen there, page? It's kind of like a spine yellow logo, and PillowWise is the name. So we have that app on our iPad here, and I have it on my phone. So whatever's easiest for us to grab when we're measuring somebody. So you could do this at home with somebody. Just take a tape measure. If you have a soft tape measure, and it talks you through it. You download it. It shows you what 3 areas you're measuring. You put that in your inches or centimeters, and then you put in the way you sleep and the firmness of your mattress, and it will give you a dimension or a color of the pillow size based on your anatomy and what you sleep on currently. So to demonstrate how you would measure if you did this at home and you weren't in the office with us, is we're going to do the circumference first. So do you have a way to just flip your hair up for a second? Just so I can see you back here. Nice. So we're going to measure very just softly, almost as if when you go get measured for collars and say for like dress shirts. So we're going to measure that circumference there. Then we're going to measure behind the ear on that knobby bone of the skull down to the top of Maggie's shoulder here. Okay, so then I have an inch number there. And then you won't have to do both sides. It should be the same. And then turn facing back to, yep, them. And then across the shoulders. So I'm going kind of from the top of her shoulder here to the top of the shoulder there. And I'm just putting it down a little further so you can see across the back. So that's our third dimension, the width. Okay, so we're plugging those numbers in, which we've already done with Maggie. And mattress, Maggie, what do you consider it to be, soft, medium, or firm?
My mattress at home is probably between medium and firm.
Okay.
Probably closer to medium.
Okay, so we're gonna put in, and you can plug this in and change it. So that's what's kind of nice. If you're like, well, I kind of do this, but I kind of do that. We've had that conversation. So we're gonna put in medium in that middle of the road for Maggie, but we may change that or change what pillow it is based on what you do the most. So then how do you sleep most frequent?
Mostly on my side.
Okay, so side sleeping. So as we were talking about, side width is usually the bigger deal with what number means what. So for Maggie, measuring with her firmness, but on her side, it was between the red and the purple.
Mhm.
Okay, and that happens a lot with people. So with the firmness difference, it was red. When it was a little bit more on a medium, sorry, on a firmer surface, it took her up to the purple, which is the second to biggest one. So the best way to do that is then put them on that pillow and test it and see what they look like. So we're going to do that with Maggie. We're going to pull the red and the purple because our tables are firm. So of course at the office, you're going to be laying on the firmest thing you could be laying on. So we might need to go to something, softer, obviously, or lower if you're on a softer mattress, or higher if you're on a different type of mattress. So let's take those puppies out of there. So Paige is going to rotate us to the tables, and now you're going to see how we're going to measure this, because what's really helpful is with whatever you're sleeping on at home, for us to see what that looks like for you. And then what your mattress is like at home is to a lot of times do this on your phone. Before you come in, take a picture of yourself laying over your covers, but on your pillow. If you live by yourself, if there's any way you can set your timer on your cell phone, and then set it to, 10 seconds if you can, come over onto your bed, lay on your pillow on your back and take a picture, and then lay on your pillow on your side and take a picture, so we can see how neutral you are when you're laying, or how propped up or how tilted back you are based on the support you're using. And then we can dial into looking at the difference when we measure you in the office with one of the pillows. So we're going to come over to the table.
So those are cool.
Yes, I've never had a temperature issue with the way this system is built, even though it is some of the foam.
Yeah.
It's more advanced for being more breathable. So this is what the pillows look like that we use. You're gonna see a thicker side, that's where the neck goes, a thinner side for where your head rests, okay? We need this support right here in that curve, in that space between our ears and our shoulders. So for Maggie, we are going to,
We actually use that table. It's
Yes,
gonna be hard to get an angle.
sorry, right? Flip it. 1, 2. Yeah, the cover is on backwards. Okay, that's right. This is the way it needs to be. So you're putting that, it looks different here because the cover got put on backwards, but that bigger side is right here. That thinner side is right here. Just harder to see. And I'm gonna just prop this over it. Okay, Maggie, so what I want you to do is first lay on your back. And that rolled or that higher cushion should be right there in her neck. And she should look pretty neutral. I don't want her chin tucking down as if she's propped too high. If she was really low, she'd feel like she was like, her head would be upside down, feeling upside down, like this part would tilt down. We also don't lay on our backs without anything under our knees to support it. So when we talk about pillows, I know we talked about what do we want our neck to look like, but I also want something under her knees. So a bolster works. Some other small pillow you have at home on a throw pillow could work. They make those knee pillows that almost look like an hourglass shape that fit between your knees for side sleeping. They're not as great for back sleeping. So back sleeping, you need something that just can fit and keep your knees bent slightly. That takes a ton of pressure off your low back. So back sleeping, you need a lower pillow usually than a side sleeper. So with this is pretty close to where I want Maggie to be. And I might just go down a pillow size just to see what that does to her head. So can you grab me blue? Do we have blue over there? Yeah, I see it. That's it, Kayla. So we're going to test Maggie with the blue and see that difference. What does that feel like, Maggie?
It feels a little bit like
Yeah,
tucking.
like you're tucking.
Not so
Exactly.
much.
Yep. Okay, so lift on up. We're gonna swap it. Okay, so this is a size down. And again, remembering we're on a super firm table instead of her mattress.
No snoring.
Now, can you even see the difference of her chin
Yeah.
and how neutral that is? That's where you want your head to be.
This feels way more.
Yeah, I don't want chin tucking down. That means the pillow's too high and it's angling her. And then you're gonna have these tight front neck muscles, which we already have way too tight front neck muscles from the forward posture we do all day, right? Looking at our phones, looking at computers, looking down at kids, all the things. So this is where I would fit Maggie for her on the back. Now, let's roll you to your side facing, it doesn't matter, facing us or facing the window. I want them to be able to see a neutral spine. So if you're comfortable facing the window, we're gonna have you flip to your side. With this, two things are important, a pillow between her knees and the pillow under her head. So looking at her pillow under her head. Yep. Now it needs to be taking up this space from here to there. And how neutral and straight does her spine look? I think pretty good there,
That looks good.
right? Now let's go back to the red, Kayla, and see. Now remember, she measured purple or red. So that was blue if she's on her back. Thank you. Should we have the right end? Yeah. And this may not look as drastic as it did when she was on her back. That looks okay too. Now what we have to remember is, again, this table's really firm. So she might, as she sinks into it more on her softer mattress, she may need a little bit more of the red than the higher pillow. And again, it's where do you spend more time? So this is still neutral. What's really important is that her hips stay neutral. So we get a lot of hip and low back pain for people who side sleep. And it's not because your mattress is horrible. It's because our hip width is not the same as our knee width, right? So where I am, even if you're more square like I am, my hip width is still not the same as my knee width. So we need something that takes up that space so that our hips are in a nice neutral position, and whatever this distance is different for everybody. So I didn't grab something like that to use. Yeah, Doc, you would grab one of the pillows out of there. Yeah. There's some
Hey,
down in the,
Excuse me,
Yeah.
Kristen, if we're used to sleeping with 2 pillows, does this take the place of 2 pillows?
yeah, the goal would be get you on one that
Okay.
gets you in a neutral position.
Okay.
So you're not constantly moving multiple pillows around, or the people that sleep with very soft pillows where they feel like they're constantly like stuffing them back together to fill that gap, and then they separate as you lay and they kind of wake back up and stuff them back underneath. That's perfect. So just something that's thick enough for Maggie to put between her knees so that it takes up that space of her hips, having that kind of same distance here as her knees, versus most people when they lay, then their knees do this. Then their knees come over themselves. That is straining and stressing the SI, or the hip joint, and opening it up in a not healthy way to be laying for 6 to 8 hours. So we need something to take the stress off our hip joint here and here. This is pressure with the mattress. This is pressure if her knees are down touching each other, because that's gapping that joint right there. And that'll make you want to turn and move too. You won't get comfortable. That's not the stress we want on the low back or the hips. So this for side sleeping, as well as how neutral are we here. So then it's a matter of, if she does both side and back, she may feel like she needs the slightly more supportive higher one for the time she's on her side. But again, sleeping on your back, if that felt like your chin was tilted in, then we have to gauge where does she spend the most time. And again, your mattress is going to be slightly, softer obviously than the table, even if you have a firm mattress. So that's a really key component. Belly sleepers, if they can't get off their belly, then we have to train them to maybe put a pillow right next to them and hug it so that they can't fully roll to here, and they just almost stay in a partial side position to start getting them under their side. But it's really hard for a person to go from a flat pillow who belly sleeps to a side pillow, which is the highest they'll have ever slept on. So usually that's what's nice about transitioning and having multiple sizes, is even if it's not their perfect side sleeping size, if it's in between, they can adapt and adjust to it much easier. And then it's not like, oh, I hate this pillow, because it feels so drastically different from what they started with or what they're used to. So I may go into the lower green color because it gives them that ability to be kind of on their back, still sort of to their stomach without feeling too propped up, and transition them that way. So underneath here, Maggie. Thank you, my dear. So that's a component of how do we support you in multiple positions, and what's right for you may be different than, drastically different from what you're using, or just slightly different. So I'd say, if anybody has any questions, we can open up the line, but is there anything that you feel like you want to ask based on hearing that amount of information with how you're sleeping now? Yeah.
I have a question. So when I was pregnant, I found out that when you lay on your left side, you get more blood flow to your body. So most side sleepers probably tend to roll to the left, just out of their body's usage of the blood flow. I've noticed that since then I turned to the right. It's like as soon as I had my kid, I just went right back to the right.
And I'm more comfortable on my right. I have some people, it's like they've had shoulder injuries, they've had hip injuries, so they just go to one side based on that's more comfortable, and then just get comfortable there and never switch to the other side. I start on my left, I never stay there. I was there, I tried to stay there more when I was pregnant. So I'm a good example of when we got fitted for these pillows, I was pregnant, and this was a dream to have this red pillow. It fit me perfect. I could be on my side. I stayed there because I'm a back sleeper. Well, after the baby and I went back to back sleeping, I was having neck discomfort and pain all the time, and which was very, very weird, not for me, and wasn't holding my adjustments. And I just constantly woke up stiff. And even though that felt great when I went to sleep, I was not comfortable when I woke up. So like a couple months in, maybe 3 months. And again, you're sleep deprived, you're not sleeping anyway. I didn't know the difference. And then as Sandra started sleeping through the night, I'm like, oh, I think it's my pillow. I don't think it's my lack of sleep and all the things. So I went down to the blue, and now that is 100% my favorite thing ever. I have the red if I need a backup or whatever I needed, or I start to feel like this isn't supportive again, but I back sleep and it was causing me to be too tilted on the red like Maggie was at first. My chin was tucked a little down, and it just created a lot of soreness in my lower neck on both sides. So now with the blue, no problems whatsoever. So they don't look that different. They're not that different. It's hard to see because we have this reversed.
Yeah.
But they are different and a little bit makes a big difference for somebody. So I think just again, having 7 sizes to pick from, it's a lot of nice options. It may not be what fits you the best, but as you can see now that I don't have the towel on it, it has a lot of give. It's not hard and firm like Tempur-Pedic or that initial memory foam that used to be out there. It has a lot of cushion, a lot of forgiveness, and yet it really holds its shape. So I've had, so Xander just turned 3, so, and he's like 3 and 3 months. So literally 3 years ago, I switched from the red to the blue, and I'm still on the same pillow, and I still feel so supportive. Have you changed your pillow, Doc? Do you feel like you need, do you feel like you need to?
No.
Or it's worn out? So their price point is sure a little bit more than buying a $10 Target pillow, or even maybe a $20, Bed Bath & Beyond pillow, or some other department store. They have what they call a comfort guarantee. So for 30 days, I believe it is, no matter how much you've laid on it, as long as you haven't damaged it, they will 100% money back return and let you take it home, try it, and make sure it's the right fit, and exchange or give you money back or swap you for a different size. After the 30 days, I don't remember if there's any there might be the warranty up to a year if it literally like falls apart or disintegrates, or there's some manufacturing problem with the foam or the, material itself, but not just wear and tear. And so we just send that in based on when we ordered and sent you home with the pillow, and we can track that. So we've done some exchanges before where people go home with something and think it's supposed to be really high, and they get it on their mattress and it's just too much. So we measure, but again, it's based on your body. You may be the exact color you measure for, and you might be slightly above or below like Maggie, based on how she what it's like when she sleeps and what her position looks like. So
I
we
think
have them here.
Iris has a question.
Iris, okay. Can you unmute?
She's unmuted.
Yes.
Go ahead, Iris.
So my question is, because I sleep on an adjustable bed and it's about 8 to 10 inches high.
Yeah.
I find it really difficult finding a pillow that supports
Right.
my neck, but that doesn't hyperextend the front. So I
Right.
need something really flat on the head side and more support on the neck.
Right, as does everybody. And yet your situation is different. And when you sleep more angled, so if you've had other conditions, whether it's heart, respiratory, back, whatever, and you have to sleep somewhat tilted or angled, sometimes wedges and other things give you more support for that. And if you don't mind me sharing, Iris has also had a neck surgery. So there's a lot of components that are different for her than a lot of people. And so there's movements in her neck, that will never do what others could do, right? Because she has a fusion there. So there is differences or Iris, you may measure for something by your size different, but I would put you on something flatter because you need some support, but you also have a lot of other components tilting you.
Right.
So you might be on like the pink or the smallest depth one because of those things, but it still gives you more under your neck and less under your head.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, you just might not actually wear what you would measure for because of your situation being different. And it may not be the right pillow, but I think having a lot of forgiveness allows you to have some options more than a lot of other pillows do.
Right. Okay, thank you.
So worth next time you're in, let's have Maggie measure you and have you lay on the pink or the green, pink, green, or orange. I think it's pink and green are the lower two. No, pink, orange, and just see what that feels like. And you
Okay.
may not, you take it home and try it on your bed since you do a very specific posture.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So, so the pillows that, and mattresses can be the same way. I can't speak to how, the warranties under, mattresses, a lot of things now you can try them for 90 days and still have them come pick it up and take it back if you don't feel right on it. But we have the pillows here. We can measure you here. You can measure yourself at home. You can plug in the app at home, or we can test it here. And we usually have at least 1 or 2 of each size in the office so that you can take it home day of if possible. So the price points on these, I think, are $109. And again, knowing that you have 30 days to try that out and make sure it's the right fit for you is a nice guarantee. And think about how many pillows people have spent over the years or trying to find the right thing that you can't return. I could easily find $100 worth of different pillows in my house that I bought before I found what I've now used for 3-4 years. So they will hold out and you will be, the value is there if we find that the fit's right for you. So let us know how we can help in the office, or send in some dimensions and we can have pillows, ready for when you're in, and bring your questions into the office if you have any others. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we will see you in the office soon. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.